Hello everyone and welcome to my first tutorial, and this one is going to be about black templars. So in this first picture you can see that I'm base coating the whole mini in chaos black after priming. The next step is to base coat the shoulder pads in skull white. They were previously primed in skull white, but it's always better to get the nice and even coverage. Okay, so when that's done, it's time to start highlighting the armor. First step is to spray 50-50 mix of Codex Gray with water. You should try to focus on the points on the armor where the natural light is hitting the mini. If you will look carefully, you can spot the places for highlights by yourself. In this case I'm spraying about 45-degree angle. And in the same step you can shade the shoulder pads with the same mix as you used for the first highlights on the armor. Okay, now it's time to go in with the Fortress Gray, and again spraying an around 45-degree angle, concentrate on the more vivid highlights and try to bring it to lighter tones. Don't worry if the mini is now looking too bright, because the next step will help with it. Also use the Fortress Gray for finishing the shading of the shoulder pads. Now it's time to spray the whole mini with watered down better black wash. This will help to bring the highlighting more closer to the black base coat. Basically the whole mini will be toned down. Okay, now it's time to prepare the shoulder pads for mounting back on the mini. In this case, lining the shoulder pads in black again. When this step is finished, you can apply glue and put the shoulder pads back on the mini. Then it's time to make the highlighting as you did on the armor. In this case, again 50-50 mix of Codex Gray and water, and I'm using the glazing technique. Basically what you do is you wipe your brush on a piece of paper towel and then just gently push and pull the pigments around until you get the desired transition and highlight levels. Then it's time to start on the edge highlighting on the armor. Using the watered down mix for glazing, I very gently apply the edge highlights on the most prominent parts of the armor, where they would be naturally occurring. You can see that if you wipe most of the paint off the brush, it's very easy to do this, and you will get nice smooth highlights. And also try to use the side of your brush as most as possible. Of course, all these steps were made at the same time on the bolter's casing. It's easier to leave the bolter separated because you have better access to the details on the Aquila and shoulder plate, speaking in general. again try to use the side of the brush as much as possible. Now I'm toning down the highlights on the shoulder pads, the same technique as on the armor. Watered down bedabbed black wash should do the job nicely. Okay, now it's time to start base coating all the metal areas. I'm using GW's bolt gun metal. As you can see, without the bolter you have quite a good access to the Aquila on the Keras and all the detailing, which if you were to attach the bolter previously you wouldn't be able to get to. At the same point you have to highlight all the metal areas on the armor as well, mainly the joints in the armor, all the rivets, the skull on the backpack, the vents and this stuff. Try not to make too much mistakes, because getting the tone of the black armor when you are doing repairs is quite difficult, because there are several layers already in use. Okay, now for the eyes and the red purity seal. First step is to base coat those in Macrite red. I also decided to paint some of the lenses on the backpack and the lens on the bolter's targeter. Again, the same is applied when highlighting these red parts. Try not to make too much mistakes. Now I'm base coating the purity seal using the Deneb stone. Okay, now for the gold. Only thing painted gold on this mini is the screaming skull emblem on the bolter, so only this is painted. I use liquid gold from Vallejo range. Now it's time to wash the metal parts with better black wash to create the darker shades of the metal. You can just generally apply the wash to all the metal areas, but again, I urge you to be careful not to leave too much of the wash visible on the black armor, because otherwise you will have nasty marks on it. And if you do make some mistakes with the wash, just wet your brush and wipe it off immediately until it gets the time to dry. This way you should be able to clean everything up before any damage. Again, the same steps are repeated on the bolter, so it also gets the wash on all metal parts. Now it's time to fully assemble the Mini. In this case, just apply the bolter. Okay, so now I'm shading the purity seal using GW's Devlon mudwash. Here you see I'm highlighting the red lenses on the armor using diluted blood red. Again, when using paints for highlighting, I always dilute about 50-50 with water. Now for the final highlight on the red paints, I'm using blazing orange. Again, diluted as always, 50-50. Now it's time to wash the golden emblem. I'm using Ogryn flesh wash for this. So after that you can apply the gloss varnish on the shoulder pads, which will be then used for decal applying and washing. Okay, so now we prepare the red wash, which will be applied mainly to the lenses of the power armor, but also on all the red part. You should use some very fine brush, but the one you don't mind getting destroyed, because the mineral spirits will eventually destroy the brush. You prepare this thin mixture of oil paint mixed with mineral spirit, and then just gently dab the paintbrush where you want the wash to be, and the capillary reaction will take care of the rest. You can see it very easily creates this glowing effect on the eyes. Now it's time to put decals on the Mini, but as you can see, the film around the decals is not representing the shape of the decal itself very good, so you have to cut the decal out in its respective shape. Always try to do this step if you are putting the decals on rounded areas, because if you do this, you minimize the chances of the decals silvering or making some folds of them. It's just very easy to apply these when you cut them out more precisely. I'm using decal solutions from Czech company. One is decal adhesive and the one with the blue cap is decal tensioning solution. So now I will apply this decal adhesive. You just generally rub it on the shoulder pad and then apply the decals. If you need to move the decals a little bit, you can use a wet brush or your finger if you are careful enough. As you can see, because the decal is precisely cut, it now copies the shape of the shoulder pad nicely. After the decals are set, you can apply the decal tensioning solution, which will make the decals stretch even more, and they will copy the contours of the armor absolutely perfectly. Okay, now it's time to prepare our black oil wash for shading the rest of the armor. When you are using this wash, you should mainly concentrate on the most darker areas of the miniature. Again, just simply dab the brush where you want the wash to go